Hey there, YouTube. This is Mr.Lubufu, and I'm back with another episode of the complete Fate Reforged set review. Like I said in all other episodes, this is a focus almost completely for you guys to prepare for the pre-release. So this is, limited and in mind, help you guys rock your pre-release. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and go with blue in this episode. And let's just go ahead and hop right in. First, we have Avon Surveyor. It's a 5-mana 2/2 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, you either get a 3/3 flyer, or you can unsummon a creature. Now, I'm not sure how tempo heavy this set is going to be, but I have the odd feeling that this guy is a top level common. A 5-mana 3/3 flyer is typically pretty stock when you're talking flyers in limited, and so that's just a completely fine playable. You're not going to play 8 of them because it's 5 mana, but certainly having that effect there, and then being able to unsummon a creature. If the format is tempo heavy enough, you could just get some people. Next, we have probably the most bonkers uncommon in blue in cloud form. It is just a 2/2 flying with hexproof with possible upside. Nothing too insane, you would think, but this card is very, very, very powerful. I think it is my favorite of the enchantments that manifest and you attach something to it, and this guy's very good. Next, we have Enhanced Awareness, 5 mana to draw 3 cards, discard a card. I'm not a huge fan of it because it's so expensive. Fascination is a very, fascinating card. X blue blue, each player draws X cards or each player mills X cards. Unless you open like 4 of these in pre-release, I just want to go full on mill. Even still, I don't even think I would play it. I'm not a fan of this effect for limited, so don't try and force it. I don't think it's the right way to go. Next, we have Frostwalker, which is a 4/1 for 2 with the illusion effect, so when it becomes the target of a spell or ability, sacrifice it. I never liked the illusions, and this guy certainly is no exception to that. Jeskai Infiltrator, like I mentioned when it was first spoiled, is a very weird limited card. The fact it's a 2/3 for 3 means it's a nice body for limited at least, so I would have to play to see how good it is, but I think it's completely playable, and if you open one, you might as well try it out if you're playing blue. Jeskai Runemark, aka Aang, from Avatar The Last Airbender, is a 3-mana judge creature. It's +2/+2 that has flying as long as you have a red or white permanent. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of these enchantments. This is arguably one of the better ones since flying is a very powerful effect, but it just screams for you to get 2 for 1, and in this format that does not seem like something you want to be doing. Next, you have Jeskai Sage, which is a simple 1/1 for 2 with prowess that when it dies, draw a card. Like I said when it was spoiled, it is, an effect for limited that I will be willing to play. It can arguably trade up with a morph if you get to play some sort of pre-combat spell or something, and being able to cycle it is a playable limited card, so it's something, I would play 1 or 2 of at least as like a 23rd card. Lotus Path Jin is very good in this format. So just a 4-mana 2/3 flyer with prowess. But there's so few good flyers at common. This guy is very good, and being able to make him into a 3/4 flyer is just insane. Next we have The Rock, aka Meringue River Prowler. It's a 3-mana 2/1 that can't block and cannot be blocked, that you can cast from your graveyard if you have a black or green permanent. I think this guy's pretty good for limited. You just get to constantly get in there for 2, so it feels like a stab wound sort of effect of sorts. So, totally playable. I have to get a feel for how powerful he is, but he certainly seems like a very strong card. Mind Scour Dragon, like all of the uncommon dragons, are very good, though this is arguably the worst of all of them because it just mills 4. You can self-mill to trigger Delve, I suppose, but it is a 6-mana 4/4 flyer, which is just fine. Mistfire Adept is a 4-mana 3/3 with prowess, which is fine, nothing. It's a Hill Giant with prowess that whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you can give a creature flying. That effect's very good. I really like this guy. Certainly, there's not a lot of good flying in this format. It's all in blue for the most part. So if you're able to build just a blue evasion deck, a lot of decks just can't deal with it. Monastery Siege, like basically all of the sieges in limited is completely insane. Just play it and be super happy. Neutralizing Blast, I probably would not main board. There's not, since you're playing 4 packs of Fate Reforged and just 1 pack of Cons of Tarkir, and then 1 sealed or seeded booster, there's not enough multicolor to justify it for the pre-release. Rakshasa's Disdain is 3 mana, sort of bad counterspell. I don't like counterspells for the most part, unless they're like hard counters like cancel, and then I like to play 1 in my sealed decks. This is not something I'd want to play. Reality Shift is one of those cards that I just love the effect for limited. Because you could just get rid of a giant threat and get a 2/2. Or they try and kill something of yours and you'll be like, okay, I'll pay 2 mana and get a 2/2 from it at least. So that's the way to think about it. I think it's completely playable and I would have to try it out. I'm not a huge fan of Refocus because it almost is exactly like it's a mirror of the white tap target creature draw card, and it's basically for those Just Sky decks if you really, really need another prowess trigger. Next, we have Renowned Weaponsmith, which for limited is not going to be particularly nice. Even if you have Heart Piercer Bow, it's not powerful enough to fetch out, so I probably wouldn't play it myself. Next, we have Rite of Undoing. That's an instant that you basically cast Peel from Reality for non-land permanents instead of creatures. With Delve, it's a very tempo-heavy play, and depending on how important tempo is in this form, it might be very good to just okay. Sage Eye Avengers is bonkers. I don't need to say much more than that. It's bonkers. Shifting Loyalties is interesting. I was a huge fan of like Switcheroo when that was in a core set, and this one is almost the same thing. But we'll see how slow the format is to justify it. I think it seems okay. Next, we have Shuyun the Silent Tempest. Bonkers card. Just play it. Be super happy. Sultai Skullkeeper is a 2-mana 2/1, which the 2 power is relevant at least, and it triggers, or it's able to help incentivize your delve. So if you're a delve heavy deck or you just need a 2-mana guy, fits the bill. Supplicant Form seems like a very powerful effect. It's going to be far stronger in sealed than it will in draft, so you should probably play it in your pre-release if you open it, just to get a feel for it. Temporal Trespass, I'm not sure exactly what to think, because it's a lot to delve, given people were casting Treasure Cruise a bunch, so if you're able to take an extra turn in limited, it's oftentimes pretty good if you're ahead on board. If you're behind on board, taking an extra turn is probably not going to recover you that much. Torrent Elemental is a solid card for limited. It's just a 3/5 flyer. In this format, the 5 toughness is really hard to beat, and when it attacks, it's just like, okay, all my creatures are unblockable, and you can return it to the battlefield from exile. So if you have that blue exile creature, get a 2/2, it works really well with this guy. Whisk Away is another very tempo-heavy card. Put target attacking or blocking creature on top of its owner's library. Again, depending on how important tempo is in this form, it depends on how powerful this will be. Tempo isn't huge in cons. We'll see how big it is in Fate Reforged Sealed. Will of the Naga is of a sort. It's like Frost Breath, which is an effect I love. You don't want to play as many of these as you can, like a lot of people did with Frost Breath. You might want to play 1 or 2, but the effect is certainly strong enough to justify at least 1 in the deck. And lastly, we have Right Into Being, which is a 3-mana 2/2, is the way to look at it. There's some card filter, and you oftentimes get a better card. I think this is more than fine. There's a lot of just 2 power creatures running around, and being able to manifest something that might be better is a powerful effect. So I'd probably play plenty of these if I open them at pre-release. Anyway, I want to say thank you guys for watching. Rate, comment, subscribe. Be sure to check out the other videos for the other colors, and I'll see you guys next time.